Hi, welcome to the Three Tines podcast. The Three Tines area is lucky to enjoy no fewer than 5 annual music festivals: Hexham Bluegrass Festival, Alston Live, BAAFest in Bellingham, Reedfest in Otterburn, and the Allen Valleys Folk Festival in Allendale. This is one of several bonus episodes in which we hear from the festival organisers about their event. This episode is about BAAFest. Paul Mason, thank you for talking to Three Tines podcast. Can I ask you, first of all, to outline the history of BAAFest?
Basically, it started back in 2010. Fiona and I joined a local trade and tourism group in the village as, let's say, the musical input, ideas where we could, improve things in the village by doing musical events, which we did a couple of. And it was suggested at the time that a folk festival might be a good thing for the village. To cut a long story short, I did all the sums and worked it all out and took it back to the committee, and they were scared off because even back then the modest figure I came up with was too much for the organisation to take on. So essentially, what was said was that they would support me. I'd resign from the Trade and Tourism Association and go it alone, and that's exactly what we did. John Cocker, who ran the Riverdale Hall Hotel at the time in Bellingham, he offered us the site, which was very kind of him, and we took him up on the offer, and the first BAAFest took place on the cricket pitch in 2010. Yeah, so that was it. It was the first May bank holiday, and it got down to -5 at night, so we had some unhappy campers. We did 2010, 11 and 12 there, and then through various reasons, which I won't go into, we decided that we couldn't continue on the site. Primarily the logistics of getting the tent down onto the pitch and, not damaging the pitch and all that sort of thing. So it became quite difficult. At that point, we weren't really sure what we'd do. And Northumbrian University got in touch and said, next year's festival. We went, So this would have been the 2013. And he said, you're not having it, are you? And we sort of said, undecided, don't have a site. So essentially what they wanted to do was provide support for their alumni that's gone through the folk degree and stuff like that. And they said, if you book acts that have come through Newcastle University, we'll subsidise it and there'll be a grant towards a festival. So on that basis, we decided to hold a mini BAAFest, and it was held in the town hall. And it was very successful, which sort of buoyed us up and thought, well, let's continue. At this point, we were friends with people who own the Brownrigg Lodges site in Bellingham, which is self-catering lodges and guest rooms. And they said, well, we've got 7 acres, bring it to us. And we did. And we've been there ever since. Only missed 1 year for COVID.
Yeah, well, that's good.
So I think would it be our 13th year? 14th year, but missing one.
Yeah. What's the USP of BAAFest?
It's to provide a platform really for bands that we know really good, bands and musicians that deserve a platform. But we're talking about professionals here generally, but just that the names that nobody's heard of and should have. I mean, a perfect anecdote for that is, the first time a guy came to the festival, he said, I'd never heard of any of the names on your list, and I've got away with this big bunch of CDs, thank you. And, people said we were like Glastonbury used to be before it got big, all this sort of thing, yeah. It's a small, friendly being the key word, event, but it's run like a big festival. The sound is incredibly professional, and it's one of our priorities to get the really good quality sound on 3 stages. So we run a main marquee stage. There's an assembly hall on site because it used to be an old school, so we use that. That's our second stage, and we also have a third stage which is a bit smaller, but all 3 are very professionally run.
what's the lineup for 2024?
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, we've got a really good lineup from my point of view. Headliners are the India Electric Company, three great lads who weren't that long ago at the Queen's Hall in Hexham, who are becoming increasingly famous in their own right. They're a very eclectic mix of folk pop, I'd say. But they also go out as Midgewar's backing band. So, you know, they've got quite a lot of exposure through that in their own right. They're very much themselves when they're playing at BAAFest. So that's our Saturday night headline. And our Sunday night headline is a local band, who's Marty Craggs, with his connections with Lindisfarne, and his little jam band, who are just great fun. They're a good fun way to end the festival. Yeah. But there's a host of other names. I will mention Taris Minor, who are playing on the Friday night, one of the acts playing on the Friday night concert, and Gale Force, who are playing on the Thursday night concert, who are a folk rock band, which should be interesting. The Thursday night concert's held in the Assembly Hall, so that's limited to 100 tickets. I mean, we generally have around 300 over the Saturday and the Sunday on each day. But we could welcome more.
So as you mentioned, tickets, can people buy tickets for separate days and for the whole weekend? Or?
Yeah, the only thing we haven't released so far is session tickets. So that would be, you know, if people just want to come on a Saturday night, and that is subject to availability. But, you know, a month before the event, if this you know, going to be space available, we'll release session tickets. Other than that, you can buy Thursday night concert tickets, Friday night concert tickets, all day Saturday, all day Sunday as a weekend ticket, or individual days. An added bonus of booking Thursday right through till Sunday is you get a free brewery tour in Bellingham on the Friday afternoon.
Not to be turned down.
No, not to be turned down. Hosted by our increasingly famous First and Last Brewery, who do a great job of supporting us at the festival.
And what else is on site apart from the stages?
Well, we have on-site camping. I mean, we're adjacent to the Belgium official camping and caravan site, but that gets booked up as soon as the festival dates go on. So that's pretty much full now. But we do provide, Brown Rig provides on-site camping, which is pretty basic. That said, there is, proper toilets and showers, but there isn't hookups for camper vans or waste disposal points and things like that. So it isn't a campsite, but it's a field camping site with some extra facilities.
And any food and drink?
Yes, we have, apart from the Thursday night where we don't do food, we'll have food vans there on the Friday and right through the weekend, and one of the local organisations in the village is going to run a cafe for us during the day.
That would be brilliant.
Yeah.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I've seen on at least one previous festival, you've done an open mic session.
Oh, we do. Yes, we sometimes have two open mic sessions over the weekend. I think last year was down to one, but to be fair, the programme is so packed. Finding space to slot everything in becomes increasingly difficult. We run a lot of workshops as well, which tend to happen on the mornings of the Saturday and Sunday. So singing workshops, guitar workshops. We've got a guy this year doing a sort of a talk on how he creates his songs using a looping pedal, which could interest other people. We've got some instrument builders coming, not that they're doing workshops, but they're going to display the wares and stuff like that.
So will that include local instrument makers?
Yeah, like myself.
I didn't know you made instruments.
Yes, I started during lockdown with the COVID thing. I just, I was sort of kicking my heels a bit, not as a musician, not being able to get out and play. So I sort of dipped my finger into making ukuleles, and it's been relatively successful. So another thing we offer is we have a grand prize draw as opposed to a raffle, and I always put one of my handmade ukuleles in as the top prize. And it's the money goes in to help fund the festival. It's been very successful.
Very good. So I think the only thing we haven't covered now is where can people find out more about the festival and get tickets?
The best place is the website. It's BAAFest.com. www.baafest.com, simple to remember, and the full lineup's on there, and all the information about ticketing, general information, accommodation, because accommodation is at a premium, but the B&Bs locally tend to do quite well over the weekend. So they're a lot of them are listed. And if anybody's out there that wants listing and isn't on the site, just let me know, and I'll sort it out through the contact form on the website.
Yeah, smashing. Thank you very much.
That's okay. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the 3 Times podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe and tell your friends about us.